Habib. He's a professor of infectious and tropical diseases and the immediate past president, International Society on Toxinology, Africa and Middle East Section, Bayero University, Kano. All right, good morning, Professor, and welcome to the news at 10.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning.
Let's kick off this conversation by asking you how accessible anti-snake venoms are in Nigeria.
Yeah, unfortunately, this year has been an especially very bad year for access to antivenom. In the past, we've had antivenoms fairly steadily, but this year the crisis in scarcity has reached a very severe proportion. Until recently, we've had in all the treatment sites spread across the country, about 23 of them. None of them had antivenom supplied, and by way of purchasing antivenom, something that cost about 40,000, 50,000 vial, it shot up to reach 250,000 per vial. And a patient traditionally or usually will require at least 2 to 3 vials, that is 500,000. In one particular facility, the severity reached a crescendo to the extent that healthcare workers were rinsing empty vials that they've used over the past few years to see if they could get some residual antivenom to use in care. But fortunately, I learned the Honorable Coordinating Minister for Health has just awarded a contract to procure large doses of antivenom. But one hopes in the future we should have ready plans and preparations, given this is a seasonal thing. Every year during rainy season, we go through the same thing. And this year in particular, given the flooding, snakebite has been particularly severe throughout the country. Northern Nigeria, in the valleys of River Benue, River Niger, in southern Nigeria, if you go to Kwara, Osun State, Oyo State, if you go to Enugu, Udi Hills area, it's a common problem. We do have the treatment facilities, 23 of them across the country, but the lack of antivenom.
In terms of research and production, are we moving forward as a country?
As a country, we are moving forward, albeit very slowly. We should be producing local antivenoms long ago, over 10 years ago. One of the former ministers, Professor Oliko Ransom Kuti, invested large sums of money, and antivenoms were developed against Nigerian snakes in particular. And these antivenoms have been tried and tested and found to be very effective, very safe. But what remains is to produce them locally. Of course, there are challenges to local production, but I believe a country such as Nigeria, given the large burden of snakebite, which is the highest within sub-Saharan Africa, should be able to produce antivenoms locally, and perhaps even for the West African sub-region by now.
Okay, so let me ask you this very pertinent question. Some people believe that snake bites can be treated traditionally. Are you on the same page with this belief?
Truly, it's very unwise and imprudent to attempt to manage snake bite from a poisonous snake locally, at home or traditionally. If one were certain that the snake is a harmless snake or is not a poisonous snake, potentially you may treat it at home, you may treat just the injury, the scratch mark that it causes. But if it's a poisonous snake, such as the ones we have in Nigeria we have at least this so-called big four. We have the cobras, the carpet vipers, the puff adders, and perhaps also the mambas, which traditionally in Yoruba you hear things like paramole, in Igbo you hear eteka, meaning tomorrow is far. In Hausa you hear goba denisa. All of these are snakes that one shouldn't attempt to manage locally with a traditional herbalist, death and fatality rises to as high as 20 to 40%. That is to say, 4 out of 10 people bitten eventually will die. In fact, the Igbo name of Eteka and the Hausa name of Gobidedisao mean the same. That tomorrow is far if you are bitten by this particular snake that inhabits most of northern Nigeria, southeastern Nigeria, and southwestern Nigeria. So to attempt to think that one would manage it at home, I think it's a huge mistake. It shouldn't be encouraged. And given the fact that we do not know a harmless snake from a poisonous snake, one would argue that all snake bites should be managed within an orthodox facility. We have a saying that snake bite is a bona fide medical emergency, and all victims of snake bite should be admitted for at least 24 hours within a facility until the picture is very clear that it's a harmless snake or one is not envenomed.